All right, so this is where kind of left off with everybody last week. We got our music stem happening just to make sure we're getting everything right.
So record sound, swing, action.
Right, and then here's the end. And this is where I ran into a problem last week, and I put this on, I chopped this up and put this on our Canvas page under labs. In the assignment section, go to labs, and I take the videos from our labs and put that there. What I found out after that embarrassing lab last week was that for some magical reason in this version of Pro Tools, if your audio happens to go farther than your video, Pro Tools won't be happy, and that's what was going on. So keep your audio to the same length or less as your video file, all right? And you'll have less incidents of crashing, all right? So let's see. I have set up a couple of groups here. Whenever these groups are highlighted, they're active, right? And I set them up to a group of, I'll show you how the groups work. If I'm going to make a new group, you can kind of come up here and you can put the tracks in that group you want, and then you can name it here, and you can do an edit group, a mix group, or an edit mix. I made these all mixed groups because all I'm really concerned about is muting everything, right? So I'm going to mute them, and all of my music group is muted so I can put it away. And to put it away, I can do this. If I if I unhighlighted that, excuse me, hang on a second. I'm going to keep that up, but I'm going to highlight this group, hold down the shift key and hold down this. These are all of my music groups. I go up here, I can hide selected tracks. Blank, they're gone, they're gone. All right, so then let me put up something here. Here's my busy office, and I'm going to show that right there. There's my busy office space. And oops, hang on a second. I want to make sure that this is not highlighted, and hopefully.
Action. Can you please turn on the radio? It's sure. So you need system admin privileges.
Okay, so there's my busy office. And I thought at some point, well, you know, it needs some random phone sound effects to happen. So I put in some random phone sound effects, and I got them going on right here.
Action. Can you please turn on the radio? It's sure. So you need system admin privileges. Oh, privileges.
And I don't know if you can hear them over this, you know, wonderful Zoom connection, right? But I put them in to kind of give you the ambiance that there's phones around that office that are happening. And then I experimented with this, right? And these are keyboards, right? And so our Sadiq is supposed to be doing keyboarding. And then I realized, you know, when I did my later mix of all my other cut effects, of all my hard effects, this just kind of got in the way. And then I looked a little bit, looked really closer over here. And you know what, to me, it looks like I can't even see the fingers on the keyboard. So I can't even tell when somebody is actually, when the Sadiq character is actually typing. So I thought to myself, well, here's an effect I added. I don't know if I need, right? So I've got it there, but I think I'm gonna kind of leave it out for now, all right? And then now I'm gonna start building in some of my other cut effects, my hard effects. And you don't need to, you know, watch me build it. So that's why I built it out first. This is, oh, this is the, here's I'm turning off the radio. What? All right. So that's turning off the radio, big deal, right? I dedicated a whole track to that. How about that? And then over here, the office phone is going to happen, right? And there's something I wanted to show you about the office phone too. But we'll get here. Oops.
So you need system admin privileges. Oh, privileges.
Hang on. Didn't move this guy.
You need somebody like you work. I do work here. Ring.
Now there's a couple of cues here that I could, because he does react a little bit more over here. So
Ring.
So see where the eyebrow goes up? That would be actually a good place to put in the phone right there. But this is a creative decision I made, and that is that whenever you have a telephone in real life, and not one of these kind of phones, but an actual like office phone with a handset, usually when you pick it up, you don't pick it up at the end of the ring. And I wanted to have a ring, but then have him pick it up in the mid ring, so it sounded a little bit more natural. So just think about this when you're putting in the phone sound effect, that if you hear the end of the ring, it's going to sound a little less natural than if you have him pick up the phone and end the ring mid-ring. And normally you do, fade up and fade outs and things like that. But since this is going to abruptly end, that one, it actually ends really hard.
I do work here. Ring.
All right, so there's that kind of dealy going on there. What else is going on with this phone? He picks up, where does he picks up the phone right here. Right. Oh, come on. All right, so you can hear the reference track over here. And that's how I placed it in there, by actually zooming in and seeing where the reference is right there. But I'm leaving the reference track up so we can get dialogue right now. All right. Now, none of this is mixed to where it's going to be in the final mix. This is all very, very rough, right? And here's the hang down.
I'll call you that.
All right, so there's that. And then, well, I decided he's going to talk to somebody on the other line. Right? There's going to be somebody there. Now you can make that effect yourself. You can talk yourself and do things. I went and got something else. All right. I just got something somewhere else. And this is Boomhauer, right? From that cartoon, right? And this is Boomhauer who doing his thing. I put Boomhauer in a telephone filter here. So I did that in real time. You could do this in Audio Suite up here and do the same thing in Audio Suite. In fact, if you had a monster session, you would probably do the clip effect rather than the track effect.
Yep, this is Michael. I got a pretty good dang idea what's going on. Right.
And so the whole phone sound effect is kind of like this.
Be like you working. I do work here. Ring. Yep, this is Michael. I got a pretty good dang idea what's going on. I'll call you.
Silly, really silly, right? There we go with that one. So we got those effects in there. To be mixed. What I'm going over here? What is this happening over here? Oh, this is my door. Okay, so the boss comes in, or whoever that guy is. That guy is going to come in the office, and I went and found some door sound effects. They're kind of like this.
Okay.
All right. So the door opens, the door closes. My thinking is that they're actually in an office. Now, I may have to actually put a little bit of reverb on that. I'm not going to bore you with that now, and you're watching me put the reverb in and working with that. But you know what? I think now that I'm listening to it, I think that room needs a little room ambiance. So when he opens the door, there's going to be a little room ambiance there that I'm going to put in a little later on. And so you can see this is an ongoing process. Now there's a paper shuffle. Now there's a paper shuffle right here, right? Yeah, there's a paper shuffle right there. But this is the reference track. And when I have my dialogue track, totally took this out and filled with room tone. So there's no paper shuffling. So what I did was I took a copy and pasted it down here. And same thing for over here. So this is production sound that I reused in my my track over here. All right. All right. So that was recorded. They're live in our production recording, and it's okay that we can use it there because it's gone when I get rid of my reference track, put on the dialogue track. That sound effect will be gone. So I thought that was a good old sound effect to use. So I thought I would use that. Okay, I ripped off something here from the Jetsons.
Our problems are almost over. Don't confuse me with that.
All right, and so there's a couple things I did here. I needed him to sound, you know, this came off of a narrow bandwidth file. So I tried to dip in the middle and widen it out, give it a lot more bass. It is a lot better than what it was. Let's see.
Our problems are almost over. Don't confuse me with that.
Kind of hard to hear over Zoom, right? Almost impossible to hear over Zoom. Now I wanted him to sound bigger, so this is his original pitch right here.
Our problems are almost over.
Yeah, but he sounds really cartoony. He sounds more bossy here.
Our problems are almost over.
And he goes a little bit too low right here.
Our problems are almost over. Don't confuse me with that.
Oh, I don't know. He sounds kind of like Foghorn Leghorn there. So I thought I would dial him in right there. And then he needs a little bit more air to kind of space him out. So of course there's reverb here, right?
Our problems are almost over. Don't confuse me with that.
All right. And so here's our whole encounter with the boss.
Sometimes think about it's real. Our problems are almost over. Don't confuse me with that.
All right, so boss comes in, throws the paper at him. All right, you may make completely different creative decisions than I did. That's a-okay. And then finally, I found some pencil writing right here. Where's the pencil writing for the end? BFD, right? But we got it. And you know, he picks up the pencil. This is a decision I'm gonna have to make when I marry this with the dialogue track. Do I need a sound effect of him picking up the pencil? Ooh, I might, because he drops it. Ooh, I'm gonna have to do another track, and I'll probably fly it in from up here, just like I did with the paper, right? So there's my sound effect. I'm probably another few steps away from completing it, right? But this is what I would want to see when, you know, when you do the screenshot. I want to see all of this, right? The whole thing here. And then when you do the bounce, I guess now the best way to do the bounce is just to grab tool, you know, click once right there on the audio file. And then that will give us a bounce, or excuse me, on the video file. And that will give us a bounce, the length of the video file, and we'll get it all. Of course, I got to unmute these. I may have to balance them a little bit. What I'm thinking right now is that it can be a very, very rough mix. I want your things placed in the right place, but a rough mix of what you're going to do. And then next week, when you do the final mix, you're going to mix these to make them sound really more natural and in their place. And same thing with the music and the dialogue. Of course, the dialogue's going to be the king. They got to hear the dialogue throughout. And we don't want the sound effects to compete with it, but just to enhance the narrative and not come out. I have had people think, well, you know, I'm going to make this a whole funny thing. And they do use punctuation effects for everything. If you do that, just be very careful, because comedy is hard, right? And if you don't get the punctuation effects right and mixed right and the right kinds of things, and your viewer is going to kind of vacillate between, is this a real narrative or are we watching comedy? Narrative, comedy, narrative, comedy, that kind of thing. We know it's comedy, right? Because it's The Office, but it's also done in a real subtle style. And so that's why, at least for my choice, I decided I'm going to decide to keep the sound effects more natural sounding rather than over the top. And right now, some of these, like the pencils, are over the top and that kind of thing.